The biggest political story of this year remains One Nation. How is it that this political party, based primarily on the controversial views and incredible political tenacity of one woman, has come to soar in the polls and outperform the Coalition and even Labor at times? Pauline Hanson was once a Liberal candidate in an unwinnable Queensland seat, ditched by her party for her views on Indigenous programs. She ended up in Parliament as an independent, and the rest is history. Except that history has waxed and waned over the decades, and Hanson and her party are now more powerful than ever. One Nation won more primary votes than the Liberals in the South Australian election in March, and it's outpolling the Coalition and Labor in Victoria, and federally has also topped the polls at times this year. With this looming success must come more scrutiny on policies, on plans and on personnel. And while One Nation is desperately trying to choose candidates for the Victorian election, it's the party's longest-serving MP, after Hanson, who continues to embarrass and even shame them. Malcolm Roberts is the 71-year-old One Nation senator for Queensland. A former mining engineer, he's strong on climate change scepticism, but also keeps straying into some weird and worrying conspiracy theories. The latest relates to so-called chemtrails, the nonsensical theory that the US is spraying chemicals around the world's atmosphere to control the population. On his YouTube channel, Roberts had these comments to say last year.
Many people ridicule the notion of chemtrails in Australia. I don't ridicule the idea. I'm open to there being chemtrails in Australia. I have never denied it. And I think it's likely, highly likely, that the USA military are doing trials on these things.
Open to chemtrails. Wow. One Nation, remember, are leading in many polls. Pauline Hanson is being spruiked as a possible Prime Minister. If One Nation were to govern, we can only presume Roberts would have a senior role.
A political party that most commentators write off as a 90s fringe act is now beating the Liberals at their own game, outpolling the Coalition in state and federal contests and getting whispered about as a genuine contender for government. Sounds like a comeback story worthy of a movie, does it not? Except there is a catch, and it is a big one. Sitting right beside Pauline Hanson is a senator whose greatest hits list includes chemtrail theories, Holocaust denier citations, and praise for Vladimir Putin. Stick around because today we are pulling apart One Nation's electoral glow-up and asking the one question nobody in that party seems to want answered. Quick favour, if you are loving this breakdown, let me see you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell to stay informed. Thanks if you did. Now let us get back to it.
Earlier this year, I highlighted his appalling conduct, refusing to push back at false flag claims about the Bondi massacre.
I was going to ask one more question on the Israel thing. Do you think that Bondi was a false flag?
You asked me if I thought it was a false flag. If I make a statement, it's got to be backed by fact. I don't have the facts yet. I'm not ruling it out, you notice that?
Pauline Hanson needs to make sure Roberts backtracks on this rubbish and expel him from her party if he refuses. On that occasion, Pauline Hanson and Roberts attempted to clean up the mess.
You have to understand the terminology that Senator Roberts used in that interview is not, it's been taken completely out of context. Completely out of context.
And the other thing is that the media is culpable for that woman's question because the media has misled, and people don't trust the media. They don't trust
anyway,
you.
Would you say that it's a false flag? Would you be willing to say that? Of course there's no false flag.
That's an absurd proposition that it's a false flag.
But there are plenty more disturbing comments in Roberts' past, his present and possibly in his future. He has promoted the works of an infamous Holocaust denier. He has posted and praised a notorious anti-Semitic mural. He has praised the American conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, who once claimed the Sandy Hook school massacre was a US government hoax. Roberts has praised Vladimir Putin for invading Ukraine. He's described the United States as the world's greatest terrorist organisation. Malcolm Roberts habitually floats appalling, nonsensical and dangerous conspiracy theories. He's a liability to One Nation if they're to be taken seriously. And he's a gift for the coalition as they try to claw back support from this one-time fringe party.
There's a long list of things that he said. He called the United States the worst terrorist organisation in the world. There was something else today about chemtrails, anti-Semitic tropes, that there's praise for Vladimir Putin. I mean, this is a long list now. This is a long list. And the question here for Pauline Hanson is, what is she going to do about it? She's over in Italy right now, living it up, it seems. Look, she needs to deal with this, and she needs to deal with this now. This is a very long list we've seen. And frankly, the problem with One Nation is they don't have that strong team and that strong plan to turn this country around.
Pauline Hanson is in Europe and returns to Australia next week. One Nation is polling like a mainstream party. Many of its stances, like those on immigration and net zero, are appealing to mainstream voters. The trouble is that Roberts is a long way from mainstream. His views come from the nutty fringes. So how Pauline Hanson deals with Roberts will demonstrate exactly what sort of a party she's leading.
But here is where the plot thickens. And this is the part that should make every One Nation voter sit up straight. Longest-serving senator beside Hanson is Malcolm Roberts, a Queensland senator known for being relentless in Senate estimates, grilling bureaucrats until they crack. Fair enough, that is actually good, hard-working politics. The trouble is what sits alongside it. Roberts has floated chemtrail conspiracy theories, refused to rule out false flag claims after a tragic public attack, and just this month found himself under fire for citing the work of a known Holocaust denier in an old essay about global banking. His office says the coverage strips context and unfairly piles on, and to be fair, some of his supporters make that case loudly. But when the pattern includes praise for Alex Jones and warm words for authoritarian figures overseas, context only stretches so far. Here is the analogy that sums it up perfectly. Imagine you're renovating a house and the front door looks fantastic, fresh paint, shiny handle, genuinely inviting. But every time you walk further inside, you find another room with the wiring hanging out of the wall. At some point, the flashy entrance stops mattering because nobody wants to live in a house that might short-circuit. That brings us to the real crux of the story. Pauline Hanson cannot keep having it both ways. Rising in the polls is one thing, but rising in the polls while dodging hard questions about a senior colleague's greatest hits reel is another thing entirely. Either she draws a clear line on where her party stands regarding conspiracy theories and extremist rhetoric, or she doesn't, and voters deserve to know which one it is before they mark a ballot paper. Because let's be honest, this is not just an internal One Nation headache. It's a test case for how Australia handles the growing wave of disinformation creeping into mainstream politics everywhere. How Hanson deals with Roberts will tell us exactly what kind of party she wants to lead and exactly what kind of politics the rest of us are being asked to accept. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.